All right, guys, so a few videos ago when we were looking at div elements, I told you that it's really bad practice to use a div just because it's a block element, just because it's full width. It's really bad practice to use that for everything just because, it makes it like that. So what we have in HTML5 is the introduction of new elements, and we're going to be covering those in this video and the next one. And they are block elements that are used to arrange the content in a better way. So let's say I have a header that basically just says the name of the site. So I'm going to create it as a div right here, and I'm going to write my site. Now I need this to look a bit different, so I do have to add some properties to it. So what I'm going to add is a height property, and it's going to be 100. That's 100 pixels high. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to refresh this, and now this is a div at the top of my site that says it's my site. It just shows the title. Maybe I want to show my navigation up there too, links to other pages within the site itself. However, I'm not going to jump into that right now. Instead of using a div element, which does not specify what type of content this tag includes, we're going to use an HTML5 header element. And this is not a header, or this is not a head element. So within an HTML document, the head of the document just provides meta information, but within the body you can use a header element that's for content. It's just like a div. Except when you're reading through the site, that looks a lot better and you know exactly what's in it. And it looks the exact same because, again, it is a block element just like a div. It's just a lot better practice to use more appropriate tags where possible. So along the same lines, at the bottom of the site, let's create a div that says copyright 2017. And I'm going to save it and refresh. Now this looks a lot like a footer. And so in that case, instead of doing this right here as a div, we're going to be writing footer. So footer is another HTML5 tag that didn't exist in HTML4, and we're always going to be using this at the bottom of a site if it better describes the content within it than a div does. And so in this case, this is most definitely footer content, so I'm going to wrap it in a footer. And here's a free one for you guys. You can make a copyright symbol in ASCII by using an and side, and then the word copy, and then a semicolon. So we're going to be getting into this as well. These are HTML entities. I believe it's just ASCII characters. It's a way to code in ASCII characters. So if I save this and refresh, it shows a copyright symbol there. And you can also do these with other things, and I can't remember any off the top of my head right now because I don't use them often. But if you need to put more than one space between words, for instance, HTML doesn't like that. It only will recognize the first space character. But if you want more than that, you can use another ASCII character called hold on. What is it? NBSP? I think. Yeah, that is it. Okay. NBSP. So you can, I'm not sure what it stands for. I just know that it does this. So you can copy it and paste it, and now you'll see that we're getting a lot of spaces in between here. It is a space character that makes the HTML recognize it and print it as a space character. So, but more importantly in this video, what we did was we learned about these HTML5 elements, header and footer. Now, if you guys don't have a web development background, these are going to be new to you, and you're not going to maybe see the problem that these solve. But if you have done a little bit of web development in the past, you will know exactly the problem that exists here. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to look at the source of this page right here. And okay, this is a perfect example. So you see all these divs here? If we go down, we see more and more and more. This is div soup, people. When a website is made up mostly of divs where it doesn't have to be, oh, they have a footer. Okay, cool. So they, but then within the footer element, they have a div with a class of footer. So they just kind of, I mean, they could have applied the styles that's applied to this class directly to the footer tag, but they didn't. And up here, they have a top bar. This should be a header element. As you can see it highlighted there, that is most definitely the header of the website. And so this is what div soup is. And with HTML introducing all these other elements that we can use in place of div elements, it makes the document neater and easier to read through. So that's why we're learning these.